Okay, hi guys. Are you all here yet? So we are having quite a number of issues with Blackboard Collaborate, and we tried to use WebEx, Cisco as well, but some students are unable to log in, possibly due to connection, among other things. So let's see what we can do. Is anyone here yet? So anyway, today we are going to discuss about a regulation of mass media. We're going to look at different elements that we can actually use. All right. So we have three people viewing right now. Okay. And what we're going to talk about as we let the rest of them kind of come through is we're looking at formal controls, laws, what are the rules, what are the regulations. So for this particular class, we're going to be looking at what is prior restraint, what are some special protective privileges that reporters have. Of course, this is the context of the US. What's the difference of libel, slander, libel per se, libel per quote, and we're also going to look at what is the impact of media regulation of the internet. Can media actually be regulated via the internet? There's so many constraints, right? So what are those constraints and what can we do about it? It's just going to be a very, very short lecture because we're just going to look at uh, kind of the surface. We're not going too deep into it since this is just introduction to communication, and the law aspect is it's just to kind of give you an intro into it, and later when you move on to year two, I believe, or the end of year one, you will learn a subject called communication law, where they will go deeper into it. So our focus for this class will be looking more into the defamation laws, and how does it impact media, or how does it impact journalists like you and me. All right. So can everyone hear me? If you can hear me, please drop an emoji in the chat box so I can have a look at it. Do drop an emoji in the chat box if you can hear me, guys. All right. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Sophia. All right. What about the rest? Are you guys in? Tumba, are you able to connect as well? Streaming as well as it works well. Hi, Stephen. All right. So we have 13 people here. We're still missing a few people. All right. I'm not sure if you can also do your presentation via YouTube. I don't know how that will work. So, Michael, in the meanwhile, and Michael and Max, can y'all figure out how we're going to use Discord at 11? We have about like 20 minutes, I think. Hi, Tumba. All right. So, some privileges of the reportation on the internet. You have to listen very carefully because I don't have anything that I can show you because I don't think we can use share screen and things like that. Okay. But if you have any, hi, Max, if you have any questions, do ask me and I will answer it in the chat. Okay. Or I'll answer it via audio here and video. And you can check it out and you can ask me questions via the live chat. Yeah. So, what is the meaning of prior restraint? So, let me just put the word out there, just in case you can't hear me clearly. Prior restraint. All right. So, prior restraint is looking at when a government censors the press, just say newspapers, just say radio, and I think this happens a lot. This will not be a recorded session, yes, but it's on YouTube. So, basically, it means it's always recorded. Does that make sense? I don't have to specifically record it. It's already live, so you should be able to access it on my YouTube channel. Yeah. So essentially, yes, it will be kind of recorded in a way. All right. And what's going to happen is when we talk about prior restraint, we're talking about how a government, let's just say a Malaysian government, censors the newspapers, or the US government censors the newspapers, censors maybe radio, maybe even in the internet, right? And what prior restraint means is that the government does prior restraint by kind of restraining the publication from publishing or broadcasting certain material. Although these kind of attempts in the United States has been kind of rare, that means even before you publish it, I'm already censoring it. So it's not a matter of you publishing it, put it online, and then I take it down. But as you're going to already publish it, I'm telling you, no, it can't make airtime, right? Understand the meaning of prior restraint. So prior restraint is talking about censoring prior to publication, censoring prior to publication. Talking about protecting news sources. As a journalist who is kind of using external sources, just say you interview someone and you don't obviously want to kind of reveal all the sources you're using, because if you reveal, like a police, if he reveals on his informant, do you think that the informant is going to come again and give him that information? Definitely not, right? So the idea of protecting news sources is when conflicting interests are involved, if we kind of reveal our sources, no one will ever come forward and the public's right to information will be impacted, right? So it's very important as a journalist that regardless of what is going on, we need to actually protect our news sources, like where we get our information from. Our so-called informants in the context of journalism, we're talking about them as sources, right? So we need to make sure that we protect them so that they will always come forward and give us that information. Because if we don't protect them, it puts them at risk as well. So one of the important elements when we're looking at mass media, even though sometimes when you go to court and things like that, they will ask you to reveal your sources, but it's very important that we don't, because of obvious reasons, right? So let me tell you about one of the cases. It's called the Brandsburg case. Let me just type it here. Are y'all able to listen? Okay. Brandsburg case. So in the Brandsburg case, Paul Brandsburg wrote a story for this journal. It's called Louisville Courier Journal. It's a newspaper, right? So he was talking about how two local residents were synthesizing hashish from marijuana. It's drugs, okay? So these two residents were synthesizing hashish, got this news information, right? But unfortunately, what happened was the judges actually subpoenaed by the country's grand jury. Okay. Oh, the good stuff. Michael. All right. And Brandsburg refused to answer the question. Okay. Because laws of that particular, the UK laws. If you're working in Malaysia, you need to know the media laws here in Malaysia. It's very important. So you know the grounds and what you need to do in order to protect your rights as well. Excluded from testifying before a grand jury's investigation. So unfortunately, this was kind of a setback for reporters' rights. So there's a lot of harassment of reporters, and sometimes juries don't operate in good faith. Okay. And there's kind of a remote connection between investigation and information sought. And the reporter should have a right, okay, to kind of claim that privilege that, hey, this is my First Amendment right, for me to protect my sources. Okay. And very important as a reporter for you to understand what is defamation. Okay. So y'all following so far? If you're following so far, can you give me an emoji so I know that y'all are following? Okay. So next thing we're going to discuss about is defamation. I've just posted it in the chat. And there are two main types of defamation, okay, which is libel and slander. Okay. Thank you, Yash. Thank you. Reputation that is found under, it's like you damage the short video and says, Miss Cheryl doesn't know what the hell she's talking about most of the time. What kind of lecturer is she? Is she, imagine if Michael goes, hopefully once it kind of records, it becomes a little better. Yeah. So when we talk about defamation, it is actually, can you hear me now? It's still kind of, so where were we? Defamation. So defamation is damaging the reputation of someone. Okay. Maybe it could be definitely that.